Alright, so the Philadelphia Eagles just revealed massive new plans for one of their best defensive players. A second-year star defensive tackle Jalen Carter has been dominating during training camp and wreaking havoc on the offensive line. And that's been at a variety of different spots, as it was recently leaked that Carter could be playing more than one position this season, so just how smart could this change end up being for the defense? Meanwhile, the preseason opener is right around the corner, and several surprising Eagles seem to be climbing the depth chart. Also, the media issued another ridiculous attack on Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni, and Hurts specifically wasn't having it. Plus, the Birds just signed a new tight end, so let's talk about all that and all the other latest Eagles news. And we won't waste any time, let's get straight into it. So the Eagles are currently finishing up a long week of work during training camp leading up to their first preseason game versus the Baltimore Ravens, but one guy that has been out of practice since Monday is safety CJ Gardner-Johnson, as he's been dealing with a minor shoulder injury that shouldn't keep him out for too much longer, so we should see CJ back out on the practice field making plays very soon here. But in the meantime, the Eagles social media team gave us an up-close and personal look into what Chauncey's been doing during training camp, as they mic'd him up for a practice that was recently released in the Eagles' latest episode of Unscripted, and it was really cool to see his energy and trash talk on full display.
I'm mic'd up, so I'm talking shit. They gonna hit this one. Hey, bro, he talking crazy pre-count. He talking like he gonna score 100 touchdowns in count. Oh, yeah, I'm inside that. Sack! Sack! Hey! Hey! Shut your ass up, boy. That's a TFL.
It's no secret that Chauncey's attitude is one of the things that makes him so valuable to the defense, and it's probably the thing that makes him a fan favorite in Philly, so it was just cool to see him in this video in action, providing constant energy and trash talking everybody out there. Now, something that wasn't so cool to see though was the media continuing to talk down on our quote-unquote trash talk Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni in a way once again, as ESPN's Tim McManus and Jeremy Fowler teamed up to write a huge article that just dropped on Wednesday morning that is once again focused on the relationship between Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni, which, I mean, fair enough, like, they got a job to do and I get that, but I just feel like at this point, I mean, there's not really much else to say on the topic and we're kind of past it at this point. However, this article still quickly became one of the biggest topics of the week for the Eagles, and not in a good way, because the article pretty much just goes into a bunch of drama from last season that, one, is definitely overblown, and two, is really no longer relevant, as the article talks about how Hurts and Sirianni's relationship was strained because Nick wanted major control over the offense, and he oftentimes was taking responsibility away from Brian Johnson, all while Jalen Hurts didn't necessarily agree with the direction Sirianni was taking the offense, but he went along with it, and then by the time the playoffs came around, defenses around the league had figured out the Eagles' offense, so Jalen Hurts called former Giants defensive coordinator Wink Martindale, who blitzed the crap out of the Eagles' offense to perfection the week before, to just learn about what they were doing wrong and just to be as prepared as possible heading into the Bucs game. And this was actually kind of cool. As Martindale said, in his 40 years of coaching, an opposing quarterback never did that, so that's pretty awesome to hear that Jalen went to those lengths to prepare, but still, this article just feels unnecessary with its timing. Like, why is any of this relevant right now with the Birds in the heat of training camp and preparing for their first preseason game, which is tomorrow night? And that's pretty much what Jalen Hurts echoed to the media when they asked him all this, as he shut down the drama during his press conference on Wednesday.
I'm curious to see where is this coming from randomly, this Wink stuff.
There was a report from ESPN this morning that said he contacted him.
Before the Bucs game.
Something so long ago. Why is that relevant now?
I didn't write it.
First we heard it
out today.
Yeah.
Who wrote it?
I wrote it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, why is that relevant now?
Why is it relevant?
Yeah.
Trying to give proper context from what happened last season, so we have a better understanding of where we are now.
Okay. Well, I think for certain things, I appreciate what you guys do and everything you guys bring to attention and sometimes the understanding. I think sometimes people are only able to know what they understand. Sometimes people don't know what they don't know. But in that regard, I think, where we are is you have reports and you have rumors and then you have reality. And, we're in reality right now. I think, my natural nature is to because I don't know about, but my natural nature is to block out the external factors, because I think it comes a point where sometimes you question so much and the negativity becomes redundant. So this team is one of those teams that's going to do that, especially with the things that we've been able to experience, and it is a proper development. It was a developing time. It was a time of development for us, and that's something we learn from.
So I just love that Jalen is doing his best to block out all this outside noise, and he's also right in saying that we're in reality right now. Like, no disrespect to these reporters and writers who are definitely trying to do a very hard job, but whatever they're trying to say about Hurts and Sirianni's relationship just seems so dramatized and overblown to me. And you want to talk about reality? Let's talk about the reality that we saw the other day of them driving around in a golf cart together, smiling big as can be. The reality of that to me seems to be that they get along well enough to coexist in a working relationship, and that's good enough for me. And also, Nick Sirianni seems to realize the reality that a lot of the failure of last season was his fault, and that's something he owned up to, as the article went into detail on how Sirianni got vulnerable in a team meeting during the spring, and he took accountability for what happened, as the main idea of Sirianni's From the Heart message was, quote, "Last year was on me, on my shoulders, I didn't get it done." And Nick spoke about why he felt like it was so important to do that in his Wednesday press conference.
Sure, accountability, right, is the only way to get better is to really look through the things that you felt like you messed up and get better at them, right? But it starts with the humility to say, I messed this up. If I'm not accountable to that I mess up, pardon my language, if I'm not accountable to the things that I mess up, how am I going to expect them to be accountable to what they mess up, right? And so that's been day one here. That's just not off-season 2024 going into the 24 season. That's been what I'm trying to do day one. That's what we want from this team. Everybody's accountable. We're all accountable, and that's the only way to get better, and I firmly believe that.
So personally, I just love that, because for the Eagles to even sniff getting back to the Super Bowl and hopefully even win it, they have to have a culture of accountability, and that starts with the head coach to set an example for the rest of the team, and also just for the Eagles to move on from last year and get better. Nick Sirianni was going to have to take accountability for what happened, so it's awesome that he's done that, and the Eagles seem to have turned the page on last season while remaining accountable. And one player that held himself accountable and got better because of it this offseason was defensive tackle Jalen Carter, as he, along with the rest of the defense, fell off in the second half of the season, in large part just because of his conditioning not being quite good enough to keep him playing at a high level for the entirety of the year, but Carter seems to have put the work in to make sure that doesn't happen again.
Main focus was just to stay in shape. I know that it might be a chance that my reps might go up, increase a lot or a little, never know, but I knew that my stamina was going to be a big impact on my next season.
Where do you think you are 10 days in, 4 days in a row? How do you feel conditioning-wise?
I feel good. I look good. I'm ready to play.
I don't think it's crazy to think that if Carter's in shape throughout this entire season, then he's going to have a true breakout season and become a bona fide star. And there's also no doubt in my mind that new defensive coordinator Vic Fangio is going to be able to find ways to get the best out of him, and one of those ways might just be by playing him at a new position. So don't worry, we're going to get into that and so much more in just a minute, but real quick, I do want to say, if you are enjoying this video and don't want to miss any other Eagles training camp, preseason, or regular season coverage coming in the future, then make sure you subscribe and also really importantly, turn on notifications so you're notified instantly when one of these videos is uploaded. I think that's a win-win for the both of us, because not only do I get more people watching the videos, but you don't miss any other Eagles content just like this. And also, while you're at it, make sure you drop a like to show some support. Let's try and hit 800 likes on today's video. Now with that being said, let's get back into the video. Now we all know that Jalen Carter is a defensive tackle and nothing's going to change that, but it does seem like the Eagles have been experimenting with moving him around to different positions on the defensive line occasionally during training camp, as Carter has been taking some snaps on the outside or on the edge during practice, so it seems like this is something that we could see the Breadman do at various moments this season. And Jalen Carter was actually asked about this possibility on Wednesday, and this is what he said.
It's good. It's fun. Actually, I ain't really been on the edge that much, but I always tell them that if you need me anywhere, and we got a package where I'm on the edge, and we'll see what happens. What I like about it, I got a lot of space. I can line up wide where I could make the tackle set out a little farther or whatever. It's just a couple of keys in there that I could do.
Yeah, we all know that Jalen Carter's a freak athlete, so there's no doubt in my mind that he can be effective at rushing off the edge once he gets used to it, because not only is Carter just incredibly strong and skilled at using that to his advantage on the interior of the defensive line, but he's also quick and agile, so him lining up on the edge and out wide and combining those two skill sets of power and speed could be a scary thing for NFL offenses. Plus, it just adds another element of creativity to the Eagles defense for opposing offenses to worry about. And that creativity and versatility seems to be a theme for the Eagles defense this year. I mean, for example, Josh Sweat says he's going to be playing on both sides of the line more.
You think you'll switch sides more this year?
Yeah. Every week I take reps on the other side. Yeah, we'll probably 3-4 days, 3-4 practices, then we'll switch, keep switching. Yeah, so everybody's learning everything, both sides, so we can just get comfortable with it.
Is that something you'll welcome? Because obviously For those who've known you a while, you're kind of stuck to one side for most of the time.
I mean, I've always been a both side guy, but I mean that's just how we had it structured in the past, and I mean, it'll be good. For sure it'll be good for everybody moving
see
around.
Some more right tackle.
And I love this because not only did Sweat express confidence that switching sides and moving around is going to be good for his game individually, but he also said that everyone is moving around and learning different positions on the defense. And that all just shows you how much Vic Fangio values versatility and that he's going to throw a bunch of different looks out there this season. And I think that'll only help the players at all three levels and also confuse the opposing offense and just give them a lot to think about with each and every play. So overall, I love that they got Jalen Carter playing on the outside and other guys playing in different positions, and just all in all, I'm a big fan of the positional versatility and creativity that this defense seems like it has. But now moving on, the Eagles actually made a change to their roster on Wednesday afternoon as they waived wide receiver Shaq Davis and signed tight end Armani Rogers. Now, Rogers is an intriguing player as he's a really big guy standing at 6'5" and 225 pounds, and he's also got some really interesting athletic ability, as he was a quarterback in college at Ohio where he set the NCAA FBS record for longest run by a quarterback with a 99-yard touchdown. However, Rogers hasn't done much at the NFL level as he switched to tight end before signing with the Commanders as an undrafted free agent in 2022, where he didn't really do anything, and then he missed all of last season with an Achilles injury. So I'd say more than likely Rogers should just call himself lucky if he makes the practice squad, but I will be interested to see if he's able to make some plays during preseason and help himself out a bit. And speaking of guys that I'm excited to watch during the preseason, one of them is another tight end in Grant Calcaterra, as the third-year man has been able to climb the depth chart this offseason to the point where he's the clear-cut tight end number 2 at this point on the Eagles roster, and he's done that by just continuing to get better and also taking advantage of his opportunities. And safe to say he's done that during training camp, as he's made some really nice plays, including catching a 20-plus yard pass from Jalen Hurts yesterday and earning some praise from tight end Dallas Goedert, who said that he's gotten much better and is starting to mature in his game. So that's definitely great to hear, and I'm excited to see what Calcaterra is able to do this season. Meanwhile, linebacker Jeremiah Trotter Jr. also is seemingly slowly working his way up the depth chart as he continues to earn a lot of first-team reps during camp, and he's also made plays, including one on Wednesday where he made a great tackle on Tyrion Davis-Price in the flat to keep him out of the end zone after some play action, and Zach Bond ran up to the rookie after the play to give him some praise for not getting tricked. And that's just one in a pretty long list of plays that Trotter has made during camp, and with Nakobe Dean continuing to struggle and with the Eagles linebacker position being probably their biggest weakness, you have to wonder how long it could be before Trotter could actually have a real opportunity to play. I mean, it may not happen earlier in the year or even this season at all, but I believe that whatever opportunity Trotter gets, he'll make the most of it, and I think his future could be very bright. And I'll also be curious to see what the future holds for Eagles legend Nick Foles, as the Super Bowl hero and MVP officially announced his retirement from the NFL today while thanking Eagles fans specifically. So good luck in retirement, Nick, and thank you so much for the greatest sports memory of my entire life and for bringing the city of Philadelphia a much-deserved Super Bowl championship. And I can't wait to see you back in the link in Week 2 on Monday night at the home opener to officially retire as an Eagle. But first up, we got the preseason game versus the Ravens tomorrow night, and I'm going to be covering everything from that. Make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you're notified instantly when one of these videos is uploaded. Trust me, you're not going to want to miss any of the Eagles coverage we got coming throughout the rest of training camp, the preseason, and of course this regular season as well. So again, subscribe and turn on notifications, and also drop a like to show some support if you did enjoy this video. It really does help me out a ton. Let's see if we can get to 800 likes on this video. And if you want to watch another Eagles video recapping their last practice of the week ahead of their preseason game versus the Ravens, you can check this out right here. And now with all that being said, that's pretty much all I got for this one, guys. So thank y'all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.